that'll work.
You're definitely that.
Now,
Go ahead and introduce yourself and your company, and we can go from there.
sure thing. My name is Bruce Sharpe. I am CEO of Singular Software, and we make a product called Plural Eyes, which is what I want to talk to you about tonight. And I'm going to give you a quick demo and then basically open it up for questions after that. And my understanding is I've got maybe 10-15 minutes to do this, so we'll keep it fairly brief. Now, what I want to do now is to share my desktop, so I got to figure out once again how to do that. That works out. Great stuff. Okay. I'm just going to show one slide to just set up this a little bit. So Plural Eyes is well, it's kind of a plugin, not strictly speaking a plugin. It's really a companion application that works with Final Cut Pro and with Sony Vegas Pro. And the idea is to provide automatic synchronization without timecode. Not only without timecode, but also without clappers or hand claps or flash bulbs or any of the usual ways that people synchronize things. It's very useful for the case where you've got a multi-camera production, where you're doing dual system audio, where you want to record audio separately from the video and then replace the camera audio with the external audio. Or if you're doing a multi-take production like a music video, band lip syncs to their song over and over again, you want to put that all together. All those kinds of productions and others have a synchronization step that's required, and it can be quite tedious, or can take a lot of expertise and expense to set it up with JamSync and other techniques that you might have available to you in a studio. But for live events and things like that, you often don't have that, or you just don't have the equipment, and it's just it complicates the production to have to deal with all that. So let me flip over here to Final Cut Pro, and what I have in this project is 3 cameras recording a live recording of a band, and I've got 3 clips here, and they were taken at fairly random times, 3 different cameras. They were just turned on at different times, and I've just lined up the clips in my sequence here to all start at the beginning. So they are not in sync with each other. Now, to get Plural Eyes to work on this and to provide the sync for us, we started up, as I may have mentioned, it's a standalone application actually. It's not a plugin that you start from within Final Cut. And that apparently didn't start. Let me try that again. There we go. Okay, so here's Plural Eyes, and it's got a very simple interface, as you can see. And I'm just going to press the sync button here, and that initiates the process of syncing. Now, you may have noticed, you probably can't see it, but the name of the sequence is called Plural Eyes, and that's how the Plural Eyes application knows which sequence to work on. It looks at the project and finds that sequence. So it's finished. That just took a few seconds. As you can see, I'll go down to the timeline, press Shift-Z so you can see the whole thing. What it has done is it's created a new sequence for us, Plural Eyes 001 synced, and it has moved the clips, which originally just all at the beginning of the timeline there, to their appropriate sync locations. It's also created a multi-clip for us. So if you want to edit in a multi-camera or a multi-view display, you get that as well. And let me just break this off, get it bigger so you can see it. And if I come in on time a little bit, this is probably going to be a little noisy. I don't know if you can hear that. I don't hear that. It's blasting my eardrums out. But that's I'm so happy. Let me just play a little bit more so you can watch the drummer beats there, and you'll see how it's all synced up. So that gives you the general idea of what happens. So it did that in a few seconds. I didn't have to do anything manually, and there really isn't any time code on there, trust me. So that's a very simple example. I'll just show you a couple of screenshots of a somewhat more complicated example, because we do get a lot of questions about the capabilities of Plural Eyes. In the case, for example, where you have, here we go, where you have cameras that are turned on and off during the shoot. So here we have, this is unsynced at this point, another live band, 3 cameras, one of which was left on most of the time. The other two, we deliberately turned them on and off several times. That just happens during live events, either deliberately or because someone didn't get the message. And in addition, in this case, we also have an audio-only track, which was recorded on one of these popular Zoom H4n devices. And the go to the after slide, so that was the before. So after we've run Plural Eyes, you can see that it's put everything in its place. The fact that there's gaps between the camera clips and so on is not a problem. And it's able to make use of the separately recorded audio, so you can do this dual system audio kind of setup. And it's lined up everything perfectly. So again, a slightly more complicated example there, but one that is not even as complicated as what many people are doing in practice. Lots of people doing wedding photography, that kind of thing. And they'll have hundreds of shots on several different cameras and just a big mishmash of stuff. They'll dump it all into Plural Eyes, hit the sync button, and come back a little while later, and it's all taken care of for them. So that was what I wanted to show you. And there's usually questions at this point.
This is Phil. How are you? Are you doing that through the video or through a synchronized audio track? I mean, if the audio is not recorded with the video, will it still synchronize?
So it is doing this magic by analyzing the audio content of the clips and the tracks. So the answer to your second question is, could you have synced up a video clip that didn't have an audio track on it? The answer is no, not with Plural Eyes. So the idea is to use just whatever audio you've got. It can be just scratch audio. It can be pretty terrible quality. Whatever you recorded with the on-camera mic, that's good enough, but you do need some audio.
You need some audio.
Yeah.
Offset for on-camera microphone. You have to offset that delay.
You have to offset for the on-camera microphones. You have to delay offset.
Well, we don't build that in. If you want to include a factor like that, you'd pretty much have to do that yourself using the Final Cut ways of doing things. We've looked at addressing that, but it's pretty subtle in the sense that the cameras may be far from the band, for example, if you're way back at some remote part of the stadium or something. On the other hand, the sound system may be pumping the sound at you quite close, so the sync is not as much of a problem. And so there's no particular way for us to detect, first of all, without you telling us how far away the camera is from the sound source. And because of the subtleties, we just leave it to the user to do that themselves. Typically, it's not that much of a problem for people, though.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other questions? System requirements?
It runs on even on Tiger and with Final Cut version 5.1.4 and later, all the way up through Snow Leopard and Final Cut 7.
Cool. How much?
$149. Cheap. Thank you. We wanted to make it affordable for people. Excellent. Well, go to www.singularsoftware.com. You can see the address there, and we have a 30-day free trial, fully functional. You can go to our downloads page and get that, and you'll fall in love with it instantly, I'm sure, and we'd be happy to take your money after that.
I'm doing a screen capture on this, so we'll post the video for the people that didn't get to see it. And we're going to post your link in your website and stuff on our webpage, too.
Great stuff. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very impressive. All right. Is that it? Any more questions?
Well, let's ask that. What if your audio is different sample rates?
What if did you hear that? What if
No,
what if the audio is at a different sample rate?
That is not a problem. And in terms of what audio formats, video formats, and so on it can handle, basically we make Final Cut do all the heavy lifting in terms of codecs and things like that. So we can handle anything that Final Cut can handle. Different sample rates on the audio is not a problem.